Hi, everybody. Sportscaster Dan here, and a couple of things to comment on as we put this together on November 23rd. In fact, the story broke less than an hour before this recording that the New York Giants have fired offensive coordinator Jason Garrett, and the crux of my commentary was going to be about the New York Giants and how they are pathetic. Firing Jason Garrett is not the answer. In fact, firing Joe Judge is not the answer. Firing general manager Dave Gettleman is not the answer. The answer is the New York Giants need to be sold. Ownership is not what it used to be. The Giants need to change owners. Right now, they're 50% owned by John Mara and the Mara family, and the other 50% by the Tisch family. It's not working. Hasn't worked for some time. You know, since the last time the Giants won the Super Bowl on February 5th, 2012, they've won just 21 games. That's going to be 10 years. 10 years they've won just 21 games. They've made the playoffs once in those 10 years. The problem is ownership and the mistakes they continue to make in hiring coaches and general managers. Fact of the matter is, Joe Judge is over his head. Joe Judge should not be an NFL head coach. I don't care how many recommendations he got. I don't care what Bill Belichick said. Joe Judge is not cut out right now to be a head coach. He needs to be cutting his teeth at the collegiate level as far as a head coach is concerned. I never understood the hiring of Joe Judge. I certainly don't understand the hiring of Joe Judge now. The Giants were capable of beating Tampa Bay on Monday night and got embarrassed 30-10. Daniel Jones is not developing as a quarterback because Daniel Jones has topped out. He's not going to develop anymore. What you see is what you get. You can talk all you want about the offensive line, and that, of course, rests with Dave Gettleman and the talent evaluators of the Giants. That rests with them. It's not Daniel Jones' fault. What you see is what you get. Jones is not going to get any better as a quarterback. Meanwhile, you see what the Patriots have done with Mac Jones. Patriots are in contention. Patriots have an outside shot of making the Super Bowl with a rookie quarterback. Daniel Jones is in his third year as quarterback. How many offensive coordinators has he had to deal with? But firing Jason Garrett is just window dressing. Jason Garrett has been made the fall guy. Remember, the reason Jason Garrett is there, by the way, is ownership. The Maras loved Garrett when he was a backup quarterback with the Giants back in the early 2000s. And they even loved him when he was coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Well, if you liked him that much, you should have hired him as coach. I know Jerry Jones held back until his contract expired and the Giants had to make a decision. But my goodness, Joe Judge is in over his head. But he's not the problem. Ownership is the problem. And until such time as the New York Giants are sold, until such time as the Tisch and Mara family unload that franchise, and they can get billions for that franchise, until that happens, the Giants are going nowhere. One of the anchor franchises of the NFL. Think about this for just a moment. One of the reasons the NFL has become the most popular league in the nation and has since the 1960s. One of the reasons the New York Giants, for what they did in the 50s and the 60s, a New York team that was successful, filling Yankee Stadium, making the NFL relevant. The New York Giants are one of the big reasons. And what are they now? What are they now? They're a laughingstock. The Giants are an absolute laughingstock and have been for some time. They should be a perennial contender. They haven't been. They haven't been a perennial contender now for almost a decade. And in fact, they had their ups under Bill Parcells when Parcells won a couple of Super Bowls, and they had their ups under Coughlin when he won a couple of Super Bowls. But even when they coached in the interim, they were not contending. It's a mess, and it has been a mess under this ownership. The New York Giants should be contending every year for a playoff spot, and in some of those years should be in position to go to the Super Bowl. Instead, they are a laughingstock. Repeat, they have won just 21 games since February 5th, 2012, when they beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Sell the franchise, please. Finally, a quick thought on the passing of Bill Virdon, a decent person and, of course, a former big league player, played with the Pirates among several teams. In fact, he had a big World Series, the 1960 World Series, against the New York Yankees. Didn't he hit that ground ball that bounced off Tony Kubek's throat and turned that World Series around? The 7th game of the World Series? I think he was the one who hit that ball. And remember, Bill Virdon was once a Yankees farmhand, and he later became a Yankees manager. In fact, he was the first manager hired by George Steinbrenner. When Steinbrenner and a consortium bought the Yankees from CBS, they inherited Ralph Houck. Houck resigned on the last day of the 1973 season. Steinbrenner went out to hire Dick Williams, the Oakland Athletics manager, the very successful Oakland Athletics manager, and Charlie Finley would not let Williams out of his contract. I'll never forget the picture. Back page of the New York Daily News, Dick Williams in Yankees pinstripes, the Yankee cap, Shea Stadium, the backdrop, because the Yankees were about to play 2 seasons in Shea Stadium while the first Yankee Stadium was being renovated. Except Dick Williams, who resigned as manager of the Oakland Athletics, was still under contract to the A's. Finley, who hated the Yankees, Finley would not let Williams out of his contract, and for one of the few times Commissioner Bowie Kuhn, who couldn't stand Finley, backed the Oakland owner and would not let Williams out of his contract. So Steinbrenner needed a manager. Once he couldn't get Dick Williams, and he hired Bill Virdon. Then, to rub salt into the wounds, Finley didn't bring Williams back as manager. He hired Alvin Dark. So Bill Virdon has a place in baseball history. Rest in peace. Thanks for watching the Sportscaster Dan commentary. And again, I repeat, the firing of Jason Garrett as OC of the Giants is nothing more than window dressing. Jason Garrett is not the problem. They need an ownership change. See ya.